in their address. My actions speak a lot louder than words, and we had the Minister of President, the Minister of Agriculture address us this morning, and it was very, and I think it's unanimous just about in this room, that we really appreciate that we've now got a farmer being a Minister of Agriculture. And Jacqueline Rowath put a table up this morning, which we found very interesting, with a list of the most trusted people in the country, and scientists and farmers were 12th and 14th, and I noted there was no politicians on that list, and I wonder where they do rank. But the issue I really want to talk about is
apart from having yelled politicians for a while, got a question.
Yeah. It's about this repatriation of funds, the 11.7 billion of banking profits going offshore, which has risen from
profits and interest.
3 billion. And I know you were an instigator in Kiwi Bank being formed, but you know that's a bank that's we have to provide the funds, the capital to establish that bank, and since it's even existed before it came into existence, the taxpayer of New Zealand has had to subsidise it. It continues to subsidise it. It can't hold its own in the current banking environment in New Zealand. And to me, I'm paying twice. Part of my taxes goes to fund that Kiwi Bank, which I don't use. I don't use the services because they don't suit my needs. And I don't think there's any. I ask if there's anybody in this room that uses Kiwi Bank.
I'll bet there is. Hands up those who got account. Hands up those who got accounts at Kiwi Bank. No, it's not. Should be more. But you're probably in debt to the other banks and you can't afford it.
I think it's. But
boy, if I got a deal for you, Kiwi Bank, here's my overdraft.
I think it's clear we need those offshore banks in here to provide facilities for us to operate.
All right, well, look, we could talk a fair while about Kiwi Bank, and I was introduced as having written one book on Unsung Heroes. I'm writing another one on Kiwi Bank, so I'm in the middle of it right now. So I probably know a bit more without, arrogance than you do about it. But let me just dispel a couple of myths. Firstly, was the money used, taxpayers' money, for setting up the bank, the $80 million? No, it wasn't. It was paid out of the dividends that New Zealand Post earned for the government. $500 million earned, $80 million reinvested in the bank. Why was it reinvested? Because New Zealand Post looked ahead and saw its physical mail system failing and needed to have some form of electronic banking or transactions that were actually going to sustain it, because otherwise it would have to put up the price of mail and all the rest of it. So the bank, when you had a foot traffic of 1 million people through your post office branches a week, and you used to run a bank, and it was New Zealand owned, and don't forget that during the time that I was campaigning for it, 1,300 bank branches closed in this country. And there were 40 communities, all in the rural sector, I must say, that had no banking services whatever, not even an ATM machine. So that $80 million was money that the Post had earned itself. Since the bank was formed in 2002, the capital value of the bank in New Zealand has gone from $0 to $500 million. That's what it's now worth. If you sold it, that's what you get for it. So we invested $80 million of its dividends, and the asset value is now $500 and climbing, $500 million and climbing. 700,000 New Zealanders have opened accounts, 3 of them in this room. They can't all be wrong. New Zealand, the Kiwi Bank borrows its money from depositors in this country. It is not in hock to any overseas owners or banks. And the money it lends in New Zealand is New Zealand money. In other words, it's part of the kind of mosaic that I would say we need for the future. Now, it's true that it's not yet the size of the BNZ, but nor was the BNZ the size of what it was when it was finally sold, when it was started. In fact, it became insolvent when the directors lent themselves a lot of money and the government had to take it over. Now, in my view, the Kiwi Bank is an important element in New Zealand's banking system. Here's an issue fact: 1,300 branches closed before Kiwi Bank was formed. How many commercial bank branches closed since Kiwi Bank was opened? None. Not one. Is there anything about that you do not understand? The Kiwi Bank has offered competition to the commercial sector, and although they may deny it and say it's nothing to do with the Kiwi Bank, I would answer, yeah, right. The Kiwi Bank's major contribution has actually been competition in the marketplace, in my opinion. And that's to some extent unaccounted for, but it's true. That's where it is. Apart from the fact that the capital asset now for New Zealanders, for you as a shareholder, is enormously more than it was when we started. And where are these people? Professor Tripe, who said the bank would, he's well named, in my view, who said the bank would actually be a failure. Rodney Hyde, who said it was a dogwood bank and he'd lose money if he put into it. Even poor old Michael Cullen and Alan Clark, who said they wouldn't put their money in the bank. Fortunately, the day after Michael Cullen said that, I rang his home to speak to him. I spoke to his wife. He said, "Don't worry about that, Jim. I run the money in this house and I've opened 2 bloody accounts." So there we are. I think we'll stop there.
Thank you very much, Jim, and greatly appreciate your contribution to our conference. And I must say too that in your recent period as a Minister of Agriculture, we noted the amount of enthusiasm that you gave the job. We continue to interact with you and look forward to debating a number of issues into the future. So thank you very much.
Even though I'm not a farmer.